Hello and welcome to another exciting Friday Focus where we talk all about this week's photo news, all of the rumors, some inspirational articles, all that fun stuff. And I am joined with my co-host, Mr. Mike Vrobel. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good, TJ. How are you?
I am living the dream here in Avon, Ohio, rocking out my Lumix gear because we have the S5 Touch and Try today. So if you are interested in the Panasonic S5, Panasonic Lumix S5, their newest full frame, we have it in the house. So you'll be able to get hands-on with that. And if you want to bring a memory card, try some footage, we're going to have that available today. So it's a good day here at the Pixel Connection for sure. So what are you getting into today? Anything fun?
Not today, but tomorrow morning I'm getting up early to try to go out and get some of the early fall colors. It looks like it's starting to shift.
Very nice. Yeah, I just as I was perusing Facebook, I saw some drone footage of New Hampshire, the color over like New Hampshire, and just all the reds and the yellow. It's just absolutely beautiful. So as much it saddens me that the days are getting shorter and the temperatures are getting cooler, I'm ready for fall. I'm ready for the color. I'm ready for everything that is fall, even the PSL, the pumpkin spice lattes. I'm definitely gonna have to get some of those very soon. So we're not here for coffee chat, though. We are here to talk about the photo news of the week, and that's what we do each and every week here. We talk about the news, some how-tos, maybe even some reviews, but I can guarantee that it has to do with photography and not coffee. So I want to go ahead and kick off with our creator of the week. And each and every week we try to find somebody who tags us, in social media and has some awesome work that we want to share with you guys, our audience. So this week it is KW_Hoover. This photo was actually taken on Cape Cod, the national, what is it? The National Shoreway or National, I forget what it's called. Seashore.
National
That's
Seashore. Yep.
Yes. So that was taken with the 1D Mark III and the 70-200 2.8. But great shot. I mean, super sharp. And this is on my bucket list to get a photo of a hummingbird, and I'm yet to do it. So I give them props. I don't know if it's a male or a female, but either way, KW Hoover, great shot. And we will be sharing some more of your photos throughout the upcoming week.
It's a female because the neck is white. It would have a black or reddish neck if it was a male.
Oh, I meant the actual Instagram user, sorry.
Oh.
That is a really good fact. So thank you for sharing that. You are a wealth of knowledge. Moving right on, we are getting ready to record an episode of the Talking Pixels podcast. Today, we're going to be talking with Joe Edelman. We're going to talk about, this podcast is all about how you take your photography from a hobby to a career. So we're going to be recording that today. If you want more information, just go on Instagram and look up the Talking Pixels podcast. Or if you just go to any of the major podcast sources, whether that be Apple, Google, Spotify, we're on those as well. So we would love for you to follow along, especially if you're into more of the business of photography and less of all the gear talk that we have here. So I want to take a moment before we get started to say hello to a few of our friends. Hello, Miss Jen Stitt. Hope you are doing well on this awesome Friday. Looks like you're giving us 3 smiley faces up, so that's good. That's a good sign. Happy Friday, everyone, from Mr. Joey Campana. Hope you're doing very well. Regarding the hummingbird, try a feeder. So my wife and I put a hummingbird feeder up about 2 months ago. It is still full from the first time that we filled it. But now,
so there's your problem.
Neighbors, like they have just nice flowers, and they always have hummingbirds. So we've been trying to bait them away, and it just hasn't been working.
So you need to change the liquid every 3 days.
Oh, really?
It goes bad pretty quickly. Yeah, because it's sugar sitting out in the sun. So might be part of the problem is they've tried it and said, yeah, this isn't good. So
it's probably sat there and fermented, and now it's probably some weird alcohol content. Maybe I should drink it and do one of these shows. No, I'm kidding. We do not condone drinking fermented hummingbird feeders water. Les Greenberg says, hello, leaves are starting to change. Good colors are predicted. Yes, I'm so excited for that color change. A little bit of pop in those trees coming up. So a couple housekeeping notes. We are open here at the Pixel Connection from 10 to 7 Monday through Friday and 10 to 5 on Saturday. And if you don't want to come in the store, it's totally fine. We do have curbside pickup as well as free shipping on thousands of items on our website. So what can you expect if you do come in store? We like to let people know that we're trying to do our part. We wipe everything, the cabinets down, the glass down, all that a couple times a day. We make sure that any cameras, are wiped down. All of us are symptom free. We require masks when you come in the store. So if if you're wondering, is it safe to come in? Yes, we're making sure that it is so fresh and so clean. And if you don't want to, that's fine. We have curbside pickup available. So what are our goals for today? First and foremost is to update you on the photography related news that you might have missed, especially as we get closer to election time. That photo news kind of gets pushed off as it's dominated by what's going on in the political ecosphere. Is that a word? We're gonna use it as a word. And then also it's to pull you away from that fear, uncertainty, and doubt that you're experiencing, and to remind you that you have this awesome hobby that is photography, and that allows you photography is almost, it has this power that pulls you away from that and allows you to get lost in something that you would otherwise be worried about. So those stressors that we have in everyday life. And then finally, just to get you motivated to try something new, something outside of your comfort zone. So you might see an article on how to photograph llamas standing on 2 feet. Well, then this could be like a whole niche for you. Llamas are getting more popular, and maybe you can make some more money doing that. So
before we get started, TJ, I want to call out to one user who I just noticed logged in, our Twitch user.
Hello.
That's my son, Ben, over at Kent State. Hi, Ben.
Oh, hello, Ben. Thank you so much for joining us. Love it. On Twitch, nonetheless. I love it. Yep. Love it. So let's go ahead and jump into the news. We got a little, not spoiler. What is that word that I'm looking for? A little hint that things are coming. They're kind of baiting us in, and that is Nikon. We have a final count. I should have played the final countdown song. Countdown to launch of the Z7 Mark II and the Z6 Mark II. So coming at us at 12 a.m. Eastern on 10/14, so approximately 12 days away. So, Mike, can you fill us in? What do we know about these cameras thus far?
Yeah, the only thing this news adds that we didn't have last week is the actual date and the name. Everybody was saying there were going to be the S models, but it looks like Nikon is taking a page from Canon's book and going with the Mark II name, and Sony's been using that for a while too now, I guess. These are incremental updates to the existing Z6 and Z7. They're going to have the same image sensor, but it looks like they're doing a lot of things with the bodies that they kind of need, like dual card slots, vertical grips that actually have buttons on them that you can use, and they're doubling they're adding a second processor, I think, to improve their autofocus and other functions within the camera. So
and I think we're going to see more and more of that. I know the 1DX Mark III had that second digit processor, that was focused on, just autofocus. And I feel like that's almost the next kind of megapixel war, is that, who can focus the fastest, who can hold on to that focus. And it seems like the camera manufacturers are really doubling down on that and giving them the process power. They're not trying to divide, one chip or one CPU, if you will, into doing one thing. It's just like in a computer. You have your computer or your CPU, and then you have your graphics card. And the graphics card is what's pushing the envelope for gaming and other even photo editing. I feel like we're going to see more and more of that coming from camera manufacturers, just now that they're in this focus war, if you will.
Yep, I agree.
Moving right along. So this is something that we had rumored, or we had talked about in an earlier show when it was just a rumor, but it has finally been unveiled. And what we're looking at here is an all new macro lens from Sigma. And I want to and the old one was very old. It was long in the tooth. I'm loving their new design style. I mean, compared to what this lens specifically looked like before till now. I mean, it's very modern looking. It has that manual focus ring on it, much smaller. I mean, these are mirrorless first lenses, so for the L and the E mount. What else do we know? Like, what are your thoughts on this lens?
Oh, this looks like a great lens for Sony and for the L mount alliance, especially for the L mount. They don't have many macro options. I think the only other one was Sigma's 70 millimeter if you want a true one-to-one macro. So this is a big addition to the L mount lineup. It's also a great price. $800 for a Sigma art quality lens is really good. Now, if you're a Sony user, their 90 millimeter is legendary. I wouldn't buy this over that unless the extra $300 to $400 that you would have to pay is a big deal. Then this would be a great alternative. The only thing about it is it doesn't have image stabilization built in. Most of the bodies it's on will be okay with that. They'll have in-body stabilization, but that was the one extra thing I would have liked to see. But that said, for $800 for a Sigma art quality lens, I can see why they had to leave it out.
Absolutely. And like you, I'm excited for the L mount shooters that are out there, that they now have, a solid macro option. I mean, Sigma's been doing so well with the L mount alliance, from the smaller 85, the amazing 45, now this. I mean, they're really rethinking like what they're doing around lenses, and the fact that they're not just, initially, especially with Sony, it looked like you just welded the MC11 on the bottom. These ones are actually kind of redesigned formulas, and they're a lot smaller. They're more compact. Sharpness seems way up there looking at some of these charts. So this is definitely a good option for the especially the L mount shooters out there. Now for me, the 90 mil macro from Sony is, it's just a phenomenal lens. It's a great lens for, obviously for macro stuff, but also portraits. So I'm excited to get this one, in our hands and do some kind of first looks with it. Because they're just solid lenses. One
of the people I follow online is Don Komarechka. He's a very serious macro photographer from up in Canada, does the Photo Geek Weekly podcast, and has been on DP Review TV a couple times doing he's like a mad scientist of macro photography, doing things like freezing soap bubbles and other crazy stuff. But he is an L mount shooter sponsored by Panasonic, and I've always kind of felt bad for him not having a macro lens available, native for his mount, but now he does. So that's a good thing.
Absolutely. And I've loved Doncom stuff, and I've been following him for a very long time. His snowflake stuff is, I think, the best in the world. So if you haven't checked out Don Komarechka, go take a look. It's worth your time. So moving on. So this is actually, we've been doing a ton of Laowa here in store. I mean, when customers come in, we definitely, show them, what options there are for Laowa, and the build quality is so good. They do very unique things that normal camera manufacturers don't normally look at. So it could be wider, it could be extreme macro, and now they're taking that into the cinema lineup, and more specifically with the RF mount. So obviously if you watched our show last week, we talked about the all new cinema camera coming from Canon with the RF mount. There's also, a red camera that has that RF mount. So it makes sense for Laowa to jump in with a 9mm, 12mm, and 15mm cinema offering. And again, these are going to be small. They're going to be lightweight. When you actually look at them mounted on the red camera, they look like super, super tiny, but they will cover that RF size, and I believe they're set for 35, Super 35. I'll have to go and double check. But the fact that, you now have a lower cost option, a very unique option for the new RF cinema cameras that are coming out is awesome. And honestly, I think R5 and R6 will have a home with these as well.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a great thing for the RF mount that Laowa is making these. And I mean, I'm just imagining it's the red Komodo with a 9mm wide angle macro, or not macro, 9mm wide angle on it. That would be some pretty impressive footage that they could get out of that thing, let alone that Canon C70 we were talking about last week, and or an R5 or an R6 if you're okay with wearing oven mitts. Sorry, had to say it.
Absolutely. So if you are looking for some fresh new lenses, and I want to point out these are measured in true t-stop, so it's an actual measurement of light, how much is coming in. So if you're looking at this, like, why is it an f2.1 or a 2.9? Those are t-stops, so that'll be an actual measured amount of light that is going to be hitting that sensor. Moving right along, so it looks like things are finalized for OMD or Olympus being transferred, the optics or the camera division rather, being transferred over to the Japanese holding company. So what is the news here, Mike? Is it just that it's finalized, so now we can start seeing, what the next steps are? Do you have what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it is finalized. And to quote from the press release, the head of sales and marketing, R&D, and the design departments for imaging products are relocating to the headquarters of the new imaging company in Hachioki, Tokyo. I think I said that right. And production will continue in their Vietnam factory of the hardware. So, this is it. OMD is now OM Digital, not Olympus anymore. And it's going to be a long time until I stop calling it Olympus. But I think, this is good news. They didn't just shut it down. They're actually moving all the people to a new building. They are continuing work. So Olympus, we're not dead yet, as we keep saying.
Right. So now I wonder what that's going to look like. Is it just going to say OMD where it says like Olympus on the cameras? Like, because they can't use the Olympus name at all, right? All they have is the OMD and the Zuiko.
Yeah, and that is an excellent question. I mean, maybe Zuiko is going to be what's up there instead of, because OMD both, I mean, kind of like the picture we have up, on the body and then on the pentaprism. That would be weird. So,
right.
We'll have to see what they decide to do as far as naming. I'm a computer guy, so I'm used to our 3-letter acronyms, but actually having a camera name that is a 3-letter acronym just seems, or a camera company that is named that way seems really weird.
And then, EM, I guess OMD would be there, EM1 on the front. That's going to be super, super weird. It'll be interesting to see how this goes. And again, when people, say is Micro Four Thirds dead? I mean, we're still seeing announcements. We're still seeing, new cameras and lenses coming out that are Micro Four Thirds. So, it is, as of right now, still a viable option, and it has a good fit for certain utilities, whether that's with video on the GH series. They had hinted last week, we talked a little bit about it, that the GH6 will be coming. It'll be coming, not necessarily coming soon, but it'll be coming in the future. So, it's definitely not dead. It's still viable. I mean, it's not like the lenses are going to now no longer be sharp, or you're not going to be able to get, great results from them. It's just a matter of, what does the future look like for it? And it looks like new lenses and new cameras are still on the roadmap.
Yeah. So. And I always feel like a vulture waiting for, from the old Far Side cartoons, hanging over the person crawling across the desert when we discuss Olympus. But I mean, they have not been doing well the last couple of years. They've been losing a lot of money, and I'm sure our coronavirus season here can't be helping. So hopefully this is the first step in them turning it around, because I want them to keep making cameras. Like you said, they're making good cameras in a good niche. They just need to figure out how to make that profitable for them, and hopefully this is how they'll do it.
Absolutely. So this one was super cool. So I'm always excited when I can do more just when I'm on site. Like I have this excitement about me when I, take a photograph. I'm like, I want to get it in, I want to, clean it up, and I want to get out there to the world. And it looks like Adobe is listening. And before, when I even think back when Lightroom first came out on mobile and how basic it was to even where it's at now. I mean, it's continually getting better and better and better. And, I actually got into, not an argument, a heated discussion, we'll say, on a forum where, someone said, I'll never use Adobe CC. I'm always going to use Classic. And if you look at Adobe and the direction that they're going, I think we're going to see more and more of the features being rolled into Adobe CC, and Classic's going to slowly fade away. And this is a prime example. I mean, if you look at, so the news bit here is that you're going to be able to do color grading in Lightroom Mobile. Now, most people might be saying, what do you mean color grading? Like, we don't color grade you color grade video. That's a term that you usually hear there. But what they're doing is they're bringing that technology with like color wheels and the tools that you would normally use for video are now going to be brought into Lightroom Mobile. So this might
mobile.
be what's that?
It's actually going into all of Lightroom CC, and they're bringing it to Classic as well. So this is going to be across all the different flavors of Lightroom.
Right. And for me, I'm excited for that mobile piece. So now, I'm able to make those fine-tuned changes or match how I'm going to, like, let's say I'm putting a video out. I can match that grade directly in Lightroom now. So I don't have to like switch my brain. And I really think this is for those video first creators that need to do some still work, that they now can kind of speak that language. Now, I wish it went the other way too. I wish I had like my photo brain I could use in Premiere. So I mean, if they could start working on that, that'd be great. But again, I think we're going to see a lot more of this in the future. And then October 20th and 22nd, the Adobe Max conference will be going on, and it'll be all virtual. So if you want to take a look at that, just do a Google search for Adobe Max, and you'll be able to see more information. But that's their annual conference where announcements usually happen, big updates with the system, or if they're launching something new, that's where it's going to be announced. And it's a Corona year, so it'll be virtual this year.
Yeah, and this is kind of like last week where Photoshop is bringing the sky replacement that, I'm forgetting the name, Luminar has had. This feels like they're catching up to Capture One, because Capture One has had these color wheels for a while, and I'm primarily a Capture One user. I switched over from Lightroom a couple years ago because of tethering, and I watch people do color wheel modifications in tutorial videos, and it looks amazing what you can do with it, but it's just something I haven't been able to wrap my brain around how to make it work for me. That said, good on Adobe. This is another feature that the competition had that they didn't. Well, they've got it again now. So, bringing Lightroom up to snuff with everybody else.
Absolutely. And I also wanted to let you know, so on the Adobe Max side, they're going to have over 300 sessions available. So those would normally be, you'd have to fly in and go in person and only see a couple, or maybe you go to one and you have to pick and choose. Now you kind of have the option to, if it's not working for you, to just click over and switch over. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, this is normally a pretty large conference, Adobe Max is. So it'll be interesting to see just how it goes, for something larger like this. But if you go on their website, you're able to register, and I think they're still doing like vendor giveaways and stuff. So again, something that would normally cost a lot of money to do, it's available for more creators this year.
Yeah, and I've heard great things about Adobe Max in the past, and that's always been one of my bucket list of, someday I would really love to go to it. Now I can in the comfort of my very own chair right here. So take advantage of it.
Absolutely. Moving right along. So this one, I was like, it was just interesting to me. So Canon sets the world record for the world's longest digital photo print, and that's the photo there on the right-hand side. Interesting. I was joking before the show. I said, well, if they put a couple R5s at the bottom of said launch ramp, then they would have the world's largest photo print on fire. So what is the news here? Why is this such a big deal for Canon, and why are you so excited about this?
Well, the big deal for Canon is just, hey, we got in the Guinness Book of World Records. They printed out where's my notes here, 357.7 foot long and 5 foot wide photo using one of their Prograph Pro 1600 printers and a special roll of weatherproof paper from Ilford. But what caught my attention is they used a ski jump to print it out. And if you're a person of my age, when you hear ski jump, you immediately flash back to the opening of the wide world of sports, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. So I was going to throw that quote in here because we grew up watching every Saturday a poor guy who I have found out his name is Vinko Bogataj from Slovenia just wipe out off of a ski jump. And as I kept digging, I found out this is that ski jump. This is the ski jump from Oberstdorf, Germany, where he wiped out, that I watched him for like 2 decades on ABC Sports every weekend, wiping out off of this exact ski jump. So I got real excited, and I've been watching various variations of the ABC Wide World of Sports on YouTube and reading about Victor Bogotaj's life story, and I went down quite the rabbit hole on this one, but I enjoyed it. So there you go.
And some of the comments online were, regarding the politician that's on the left and like being, sponsoring the Green Party and whatnot. I did want to point out that all of these images, these individual images, were not wasted. They were all actually auctioned off. All the images were auctioned off, and all of the money went to a charity that helps kiddos. So, it was good. It was a great tax write-off for Canon, but the money did go to a very good cause.
Yeah.
So,
and if you want to do this yourself, the printer is only $10,200. Ski jump not included.
Absolutely. So moving on, it's time for our rumor roundup.
Hold on, back up 1 second. We got a comment from Joey that I wanted to throw out.
Yeah. So this is in regards to with color grading. So color grading, and specifically this feature, is it similar to split toning? Yes. So in the photo world, where you can control what your highlights and your shadows look like, if you want to add a certain hue, whether that be blue, or if you want it to give it like that orange and teal look, then yes, absolutely. But the fact that we have, the ability to now use, you can now use those color wheels, or having those tools within Lightroom, is the big deal. I mean, the fact that you can now actually use color wheels. And
yeah, the other thing being that this adds, split toning is your highlights and your shadows. This adds midtones. The color wheels let you control all three. So it's split toning plus is basically how I think of it. Again, I haven't really wrapped my brain how to make this work for my photography, but I've seen people do some pretty impressive stuff with it. So extra little thing you can play with now.
Yeah, so I would say, are they similar? Yes, but you have a couple more features. It's not as limited as just picking, with split toning, you can pick your highlights and your shadows.
Right.
So, absolutely. Moving right along to our rumor roundup. Rumors confirmed: Canon EOS M50 Mark II and new speedlights are coming. So this is something that it's been confusing over the last month or so, because it was, the M line is dead. Hey, there's a new camera coming for the M line. It's dead. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I love the M series. I would love for this to, come true. I personally don't know anything about, if it is an M50. Before, it was like an M7 or something. I think it was rumored as well. But the M50 has been a very popular camera. It's been, there's whole Facebook groups around it. If you look on YouTube, there's just this huge M50 following, especially our friend Tech Gear Talk. He's done a lot with the M50 and getting cinematic footage around it. So the fact that there might be an M50 Mark II coming, I'm excited for that. That's their small, lightweight, very powerful line of cameras.
Yes, and the rumor is, the reason he says confirmed is he has gotten reports from dealers that it's showing up on their order lists. So that sounds pretty much like it's coming. The thing about the rumor is like you said, all the rumors we've been hearing are about an M7, so a high-end M camera with in-body image stabilization and dual card slots and all sorts of high-end features. And that doesn't sound like what's going to come in an M50 Mark II, because its goal is small and light and rangefinder and compact. Right. So I don't know what we're going to get when this comes, but it sounds like it's coming probably this month. So we'll find out when it gets here.
Absolutely. And then a new speed light. So that'll be interesting. I don't know if that's news or not. I feel like there's whole companies dedicated to lighting, and like photo we talked about last week, and Godox. And is a new manufacturer flash a big deal? Are people?
Yeah, and they also have what looks like are a couple accessories listed as well. The speedlight is going to be the EL1. I don't know Canon's speedlight numbering enough to know if that tells us anything useful, but there are a few other things that look like they're probably going to be battery grips and stuff like that for it listed on the order, on the product lists as well. But I guess we're going to find out soon.
For more information, head over to Canon Rumors.
Yep.
Another rumor that has hit the pages lately, and they've been talking about this, I mean, for a while, but a 10-24 f4 Mark II, and then also it looks like a 27 over on Fuji Rumors. They're starting to see some leaked images of these lenses that are coming out. So these aren't really new lenses per se, but they're Mark II versions of these lenses, correct?
Correct. Yeah, these were both lenses released back when Fuji was originally announcing the X system. I think the 27 came out in 2012 with the original group of lenses, and the 10-24 came out in 2013. And we talked about these a few weeks ago. The new news is that the 10-24 is not just coming, but coming soon. Their implication being, maybe sometime this month, I think is what they hint at in the article. But this is my favorite landscape lens for the Fuji system, the 10-24 Mark I. And I made the mistake of selling it because I knew the Mark II was coming and wanted to get cash as quick as I could before the price dropped. And now all the leaves are starting to turn, and I'm regretting that quick trigger. But that lens, I mean, for being a great landscape lens, it wasn't weather resistant, and for whatever reason they didn't put the aperture numbering on the body, even though that was there in demo versions of the lens that they were showing to the press. And both of those things feel like obvious changes they need to make with this lens. I guess don't need, but they'll be a nice addition. And that's why when I heard it was going to have those, I sold the one I had to pick up this one when it comes out. I'm just hoping, well, it's not going to get here before fall color season passes, but I'm hoping it gets here soon because I kind of miss having this lens in my pocket ready to go.
Absolutely. And then a question came in from local customer Andrew Dahl. I'd like to see Fuji produce a super tele prime beyond the 200 f2. Any rumors on this? So I mean, there was some rumor a while ago, but I don't think they were weighted very heavily, correct? It was
Right.
like a 300 or a 400, I think, but nothing recent at all.
Right.
That I've seen.
Yeah, I've actually talked to Chris Gilbert, our local Fuji rep, poking him about this, because as a somewhat amateur bird photographer, I would love like a 400 f4, 400 5.6 fixed lens. And he said that the 200 f2 didn't sell quite as well as Fuji thought it would, so they've been a little hesitant. But people like us asking is making them think that maybe we should come out with one of these. And they do have a few patents for lens designs that look like they would be longer telephotos for the Fuji system. They just haven't actually released any of them yet. So like Andrew, I'm really hoping they've got that coming, but there's nothing that I would qualify as a solid rumor, even, let alone an announcement coming yet.
Absolutely. So jumping into our education and tutorials block. So jumping up, actually going to jump into the Geek of the Week really quick. So this was interesting. So this was kind of camera news. I geek out on the home security stuff and like home automation type of things. But this week, Google had a huge announcement. So new Pixel phones, new Nest speakers, new Chromecast. And one of the things that they had talked about, so they had an announcement. They do Nest, and then so they had some Nest things that came out, but then Ring shortly thereafter that announcement came out with this autonomous drone that flies around your house. So let's say like there's a sound or one of your things, one of your camera's triggers, like, are you going to go running out there? Now you can send your own autonomous flying drone to go check it out, or you can have it looked like you can actually set it up to like do a perimeter scan.
Yes, this is meant to be indoors. I'm not sure if you mentioned that. And this, what their pitch for it is instead of buying multiple indoor cameras, you have one that will fly itself wherever you want it to be. And like you said, yeah, it will fly around the house checking things out. with the quote unquote privacy features of, one, it won't do this while you're home, and two, you can see its kind of docking station there. That dock physically covers the camera, so nothing can be seen while it's not flying. And I know they're making those pitches to privacy, but the thought of a flying drone with a camera buzzing around my house feels vaguely creepy to me. And I know there was a lot of talk about this in the tech news press, and I'm kind of torn on this one because I have a Ring video doorbell and I like it, but it's constantly alerting me, like, if one of my kids is mowing the lawn, every time they go by, it says, "Hey, there's something out there. Hey, there's something out there." And every time the neighbor kid rides his little scooter up and down my driveway, because he likes making a little figure eight between our driveway and his driveway, "Hey, there's someone out there. Hey, there's someone out there." And I really like it for when I know there's a package coming, so I know that I need to run down there and grab my new piece of camera goodness off the front porch after UPS drops it off. But other than that, there's a lot of false positives. And is this like conditioning people that, hey, you need to be watching everything all the time and we'll constantly be alerting you? And that part of it seems weird to me. So I'm kind of torn on this. On the one hand, it's a cool toy, and yeah, maybe I'd get one. But on the other hand, there's something seems off about this, and I can't quite put my finger on what it is.
I think this also goes into the who is asking for this category.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the kind of people who do have indoor cameras, like if it's a vacation house that you want to keep an eye on, say, or you've got a cat that some people I know have cameras just so they can check their pet out every now and again. That said, you have to think that the moment the cat saw this thing buzzing at them, this would either be a fight or flight instinct. The cat's either going to kill it or they're going to hide under the sofa until it goes away. So
right.
So yeah, weird thing. Speaking of weird.
Yeah, I was going to say, so the finalists of the 22 Mars Pet Care Comedy Pet Photo Awards remind us why everyone needs a pet.
Yes.
But tell us about these. What is this award for? What are we looking at?
It is right there in the name. The comedy, kind of like the comedy wildlife we were showcasing a few weeks ago. This is the comedy pet version, where there's good dogs and crazy cats and horses that look like they're laughing at you and at everything, and just a really entertaining set of photos. So if you want to see some cute pictures, I'd highly recommend this link. It's worth a few minutes.
And I want to point out that it is all different types of animals, from your normal domesticated dogs and cats to goats in chilling out in hammocks. So they are quite humorous.
Yep.
Definitely.
If you're the kind of person whose Twitter feed is full of cute cat pictures, this site is for you.
100%. So this I was blown away by. I mean, just by the filter. I mean, look how big that thing is. I have to assume that's like for the 8 to 16.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't actually follow up on that. I probably should have, because it is an impressive looking filter.
Given that it's a Fuji and it's probably going to have a large contraption, it's probably for the 8 to 16.
Yeah,
would be my
guess. Right.
So it looks like you stumbled upon a YouTuber that you liked, and especially given the time of the year. What does this video teach us, Mr. Vogel?
Yeah. Well, as it says on the screen, he's got a bunch of tips for autumn photography. And the new one to me, I mean, I would recommend watching the video. He's got a bunch of good things in there. But the thing he mentioned that I didn't know before is that leaves are inherently reflective. And if you go out on a bright sunny day, you don't get the brilliant colors we're used to seeing because of the sunlight. The reflection off the leaves kind of knocks the color down, and they're more, white, kind of like if you cranked up the white or the color temperature or the white balance on your photos. So he says, one, what you really want is an overcast day, or even better, just after a rainstorm, to get some water on there to help the colors really pop. Or, as I think he's doing in this picture, a polarizer, because polarizers will knock off that reflection off the lights. And so that was good information for me. I didn't realize that I wanted to be looking for cloudier days for my leaf photography. And this is the time for it. TJ, you're on mute.
I never thought about the whole reflection thing at all, and just putting a, putting that the polarizer on there is a really, really good tip, even that one tip alone. So thank you so much for sharing. So if you want to find him online, look up Mark Denney, Denney, and up your autumn photos this season. So if you wanted to up your game in other ways, we do have the Pixel Photo Fest, which is right around the corner, July 27th through 29th. Yes, that is right around the corner. It's only like 9 months away, right?
Oh, really?
10 months, maybe 10 months.
Yeah,
no,
you're right.
9 months, I think. So it's literally right around the corner. So if you want more information on that, that is the Midwest's premier photography hands-on learning conference. Everything from portraits to light painting to all different aspects of photography. Our goal is obviously to do it in person. Downtown Cleveland is where it will be held. So if you want more information as we announce it, you can follow us along on social. We post it there, but the best way is to head over to pixelphotofest.com, and you can see, sessions that we had in previous years and photos and all that fun stuff if you head over that way. Jumping over to I wanted to let you know about our YouTube channel. We're so close to 2,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, please do us a huge favor. And you can see, we do hands-on videos. We do all of our live streams are there. A ton of content is over on our YouTube channel. And you can find that by going to youtube.com/thepixelconnection. Also, we have a bunch of in-store classes, a lot of hands-on classes that are coming up that are right around the corner. You can find those over at our website, thepixelconnection.com/events. Also, I want to let you know, and some of you are even joining from these groups. You are joining us from the Fuji group, the Midwest group, Midwest Lumix group, Ohio Canon Shooters is now live and well. That's been growing this week already, but these are all groups that we participate in, and we share, we try to push you for, we have different themes every week. Sometimes we do giveaways. So if you haven't had a chance to take a look at those, you could just go on Facebook, that's where they live, and do a search for, any of the things that you see on the screen. And again, it's nice just to have a like-minded group that you can talk about, hey, what is that setting on the XH1, or what are your thoughts on that, polarizer set, or the what filters are you using for the 8-16 because it's bulbous. It's just good to have that kind of tight-knit group of people to ask questions. And if we don't have the question, maybe we don't have the answer, there's a chance that there's a user in there that does. So if you haven't taken a look, head over there and see what you can find. We would love to hear from you. So if you're wondering about how you can get the slides from today each and every week, right now, my marketing assistant is working on, I'm looking at it, she's going through, she's getting all the articles, she's putting them all into an email so you guys can find out all the information. So if you go over to our website, thepixelconnection.com, and sign up for the newsletter, you'll actually get those each and every week at 6 o'clock on Fridays. And then also if you check back on Facebook just a little bit later, we share a link to the article there as well. So Mr. Vrobel, where can people find you online?
My food photography and food writing is at dadcooksdinner.com, or you can find me at dadcooksdinner on most of the socials, or go stop into the Ohio Fujifilm Facebook group. I'm there too.
Absolutely. And you haven't bought Dad Takes Photos yet? Dad Takes Photos?
No, I haven't. I do need to look at that one. But
absolutely. And if you need anything from us on social, you can find us on the.pixelconnection over on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook, The Pixel Connection, or if you have any questions, you can email us or give us a call at any time. We are here to help you out. So I think that's enough of the photo news for today. It's time to focus on the weekend. Hope everybody has an awesome weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye, everybody.